32 degrees. Then on Friday, a chance of morning rain showers, high of 41 degrees. Taking a look at the weekend, a chance of snow showers on Saturday. Sunday, mostly cloudy, highs both days in the mid-30s. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Turn off your TV, turn on your mind, and turn up that radio. It's AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA.
It's 8:10 on this Tuesday morning edition of AM Beaver County, and we are now joined in studio by the mayor of the city of Beaver Falls, Mayor Kenya Johns. And Kenya, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt.
So it's been a busy month for you guys. The last few weeks have kind of just, piled on one event after another and one major event after another. We'll start with one of the events that took place at, I believe it was the last or next to last council meeting, which was the official swearing in of one of Beaver Falls' newest police officers.
Absolutely. I just want to say it's been such a blessing, these last few months and honestly this last year to, be able to sit in a seat and just see so many wonderful things transpire and see so many wonderful people emerge and see the strong ties we already have in our community start to blossom. So I just want to acknowledge that. And one of them is, Officer Good. She's from a local Beaver County resident. So it's amazing, and it's always wonderful when we can invite more people in. She's the first officer of color, and I say that, and I don't take that lightly because that's really important. Female officer of color. Right. I want to clarify. First female officer of color for the city, which means the city has gone from having 0 female police officers to 2. So I just want to salute our chief, and trying to make sure that we see all people and we make a space for all people in the city of Beaver Falls.
How's the unit work so far working together?
It's great. When she was sworn in, it was so beautiful. You were there, Matt. When she was sworn in, the rest of her fellow officers came and supported her. And I'm just like, that's just camaraderie that someone can't make you have. You just have it. It's just the sauce. That's just what they have together. And I just think that's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it was a great ceremony. And again, for those who missed it, it was a few weeks ago already, but it did take place, and we have photos at beavercountyradio.com. Another event that took place that I think it was that very same week was the Christmas parade, which again went off without a hitch and was a beautiful event in downtown Beaver Falls, especially now that all these businesses have come in and started to add a little bit more festiveness to 7th Avenue.
Matt, I was blown away just by the response from the community. I would be remiss if I didn't specifically thank the parade committee. They did a fantastic job of really taking the parade to where it should be, right? To creating an atmosphere of community, hope, support, that Christmas warmth that you feel.
Yes.
They did fantastic. Neighborhood North really stepped up and helped and supported, and that was fantastic. Christine Kroger is fantastic in that aspect. McDonald's. The local Beaver Falls McDonald's donated things for the kids, and it was
very nice.
Yeah, the Lions Club at the high school helped out. We had CCBC come down and do some activities. It was just so many people working together, and it was just amazing. And I want to make sure I send a special thank you to all of the community members and all the businesses that showed up and came, all the people that came across the county, the southwestern Pennsylvania to come to the parade to be out there with us. And I want to thank council as well for, showing up, being there, being courageous, and really engaging with the residents and with everyone out there. So I just want to thank the city, everyone that came. A special thank you to our commissioners, Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo, and to our state representative, Jim Marshall. I really do appreciate them all coming out to take time to let them know that they see the city of Beaver Falls and they're here to support us.
Yeah, I know I think it was either the last meeting or the meeting before that, the commissioners were very, very pleased with coming out to the event and how they had a good time and to see everything that the Beaver Falls has been improving on over the last year. And it has been an improvement over the last year.
And that's a thanks to the residents and the people that stepped up, just seeing everyone come together is fantastic. And I couldn't be more thankful for the first year in office.
We're talking with Mayor Kenya Johns. She's the mayor of the city of Beaver Falls. And one thing we talked about before we got on air, which I did not know about, is that for those who like parades, that there's another one taking place in Beaver Falls.
Yes, on Friday, there is a drive-through Christmas parade where for some people it's harder to get out, especially in the colder months, so they don't get to
Hmm.
experience the magic and joy of Christmas. So the city started this well before myself during COVID. They did a little drive-through Christmas parade, and that's a tradition that I'm very honored and thankful to be able to continue. That will be happening Friday. So if you hear a lot of sirens and fire trucks and noise, don't be scared, don't be alarmed. The city's not going to blow up. Knock
Right.
on wood.
Plus, you
Uh,
live in Beaver Falls, you're used to it by now.
right. So
Now, what's the route of the parade? I mean, because I'm taking it's not going to be straight down 7th Avenue like the traditional Christmas parade.
nope, it's going in the residence. It's going to be on the streets where people live. Where we're going to actually see kids and people. You know, for some people that have been stationary, some of our older adult population that might not be able to come out because it's too cold, they get to see that from the joys of their home. So the route will be up on our website, and you can follow our Facebook page as well and our Instagram page for the city of Beaver Falls.
Yes, and that is cool that has come through because I know we were talking a couple weeks ago with Bill Ream from the Ambridge Regional Chamber of Commerce and how
I don't know him.
he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and we were talking about how they sort of did that for the last couple of years to replace Christmas on Merchant, but then they reverted back. But it's nice to know that sort of tradition is kind of come through to sort of remind the citizens, hey, not only are we here for you, but we've made it through this, and we'll continue to do this as a tradition for you, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. I think it's great that the previous council and all that we're able to establish, and I'm very thankful to be able to continue it on. I think it's great too.
Yes. And of course, the businesses downtown. I mean, that itself, I mean, that seems to have ramped up a lot in just the last few months alone, the businesses that have come downtown.
Absolutely. It's crazy. We've had the city alone in this last year has had over 14 businesses that have opened
Wow.
and merged. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm well under the number of what it actually is, to be quite honest, Matt. But it's just like it's fantastic. But when people come to Beaver Falls and you feel the spirit, you feel the community, there's nowhere else for you to go.
Hmm.
When you feel like you're a part of something, you feel connected, you're open arms and invited. I don't know where else you would need to go.
Right. And that's exactly the point. You think, listen, and that's what moments like the parade and
Hmm.
the drive-through parade are for, to inspire the people to, gather together. And especially with the Christmas parade, the one that happened, not the one that's going to happen, you get people out there, they enjoy the parade, they enjoy seeing the fire trucks and all the different cars that go by. And then they stop and like, oh, I haven't seen that before. I wonder what that is.
Hmm.
And that sort of, starts, gearing the mindset of, well, I wonder what's here now. And that's, again, a big thing for the city. Now, one thing we've, sort of the elephant in the room every time we have a discussion, and it's not an elephant in the room that's like causing any damage, it's just there. Home rule charter. I know we've been talking about this for about a year now. What's the latest on that?
So we finished the public meetings. They're all on YouTube, and I think they're on our page too. Don't quote me on that because I might be wrong, but I know they're on YouTube. And for writing the charter in about September, that there were some finalized things that we had to go through, and it should be approved or either the last meeting of this year or the beginning of next year, the official charter. And that's still open and public document. Everyone can see it. Everyone has access to it. So that's just some updates of where we are. It's, been a lot of learning. But to be quite honest, especially my first year in office, it was nice to kind of have that opportunity to learn and see things differently. I pushed back on some things because coming in from a citizen's hat, there's some things that I didn't understand because I
Yeah.
didn't understand why we had to do things certain ways.
Yeah.
I still don't some things, I will be honest,
Right.
but some things, I was able to understand better, and then hopefully we can make sure that those that sit in these seats and represent the community also understand why things are done in a certain way, legally and ethically and all of that, so that everything's transparent.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is that once home rule charter kicks in, we've talked before about community input, and of course they've come out to these events. They've been very participating in those types of things. But once it gets to the actual government, there's going to be a push to try to get them more involved. I mean, there already has been a push.
Matt,
but,
Home Rule Charter was approved and started January 1st, 2022.
oh, I
right?
understand that. I
Okay.
understand. Yeah, yeah. But I know that there's still a lot of things going on in that, when it comes to, I mean, because I've been to the meetings and I understand that, a lot of it's just sort of, taking care of business. But there really hasn't been, because home rule charter is something involved with the people, and it feels like there's still a little bit of a gap between public participation and what council is doing. And not that council can't handle it on its own, but I'm just saying, you kind of want to see that more involvement. That's kind of where I was getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this last year we've had a lot more people at the meetings, engaging, and then we've had a lot of people showing up at the city and talking and engaging with them as well. But I do agree. I think I like having full house meetings. I like having people come, show up. I think sometimes it's harder to see who's all there though too, because people have been attending virtually online, which is different for the city this last year. To have people, they can't ask questions or whatever, but they can virtually watch the meetings and attend the meetings and be there. So I think that's something that we're learning as well, and we're going to need some time to figure out how to kind of gauge the online participation.
Yeah, and then the online participation is huge because it allows, because if you talk about community access, because when you watch a meeting virtually, you may have people from other places just kind of stumbling upon it and saying what's going on here, but you want the community itself to have that access, and you want to get the word out that hey, we're willing to listen to you, we're willing to acknowledge what problems you may have, and you guys have done that over the course of this last year. I know there's been a little bit of complaining about stuff that's happened on College Hill, and a little bit of stuff that's been happening along with blight and other things that's been going on in the city, which again, you guys are on the case with that. But it would be nice to sort of start seeing that a little bit more, because it's not that the citizens have to rise up and have their own say in a revolution in the city. Everything's fine right now. It's fine. It's getting better, but at the same time, you do want them to sort of be more involved and have more of a say, so that whenever something happens, it's like, well, why is that going on? Well, you could have said something.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we're working with the CDC to try to engage where people are and trying to understand them, but also just creating more opportunities to engage with people at different avenues, right? Because everyone's not going to feel comfortable talking at a council meeting in front of open public space, right? But I think there's a value of people having their voice heard in larger scale, right? Letting people know like, oh, this is an issue for me. These are some ways that we combat it. But also when issues do arise, being honest and transparent about how we can go about it or how we can't, and then why's and why's not. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned in government that's sometimes challenging. It's not that people are upset that things aren't happening. It's they don't understand why. And I think as elected officials, it's our responsibility to explain to people and help them understand some of the barriers and challenges that we too are facing.
Right. Because you guys do, again, you guys as a unit are working together very well, but at the same time, there might be some issues and there might be some parts of this process where you need to turn to the public and say, hey, we need your help. We need your input. And if it's not there, then it gets a little bit tougher to deal with. We're talking with Mayor Kenya Johns of the city of Beaver Falls. Are there any upcoming events? Because I know there are council meetings every other week, or the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, including tonight. They take place at 7 p.m. at the city building in Beaver Falls. But are there any other events coming up aside from the parade and the council meetings where people are, planning to get together, or you guys are planning to get people together?
So right now we're still in the final stages of what our next year looks like, to be quite honest. But there is a meeting we're talking about in January, mid to late January. We're going to have a public meeting that'll be inviting all the businesses and all the people that own businesses in the city of Beaver Falls together to talk about some of our challenges with blight and some plans and strategies that we're trying to implement but need their support. And one thing about us and how we like to move is we're not going to just come in and say this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. We want to talk. We want to engage. We want to invite all the businesses to share their complaints, share their successes, share some of their positive outcomes and some ideas they have. Because they have ideas that I might not ever have, or anyone else sitting at the council, or anyone there sitting in that space. So we want to create that opportunity for us all to come together, engage, and come up with a plan that we're all on board with, whether we all agree with or not. That might, that's fine. We're adults, but a plan that we're all involved in, all engaged with, and really change the city around for the better, but with everyone involved and not just making decisions for people, but with them.
Exactly. And not to mention too, we mentioned the new businesses that have come in, the new restaurants that have come in, their input, that might be a little different. I know there's the one, I believe it's a Sinful Sweets, where the guy's coming in from New York, and his perspective on how to deal with the city might, provide a little bit of a, different flavor or different mind concept to the rest of council. It could, very well be meeting where everybody puts their ideas and it's like, well, that's a good idea. I'm not so sure about that one, but that's exactly why you guys gathered to do this.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important for us to have this spaces where we're not a city or a group that's like we shy away from input or people's opinions, because we need them. That's the beauty of diversity, right, Matt? Is that people come from different backgrounds, different ways of life, different ways of thinking. So your brain literally processes it. We can hear the same information and process it completely different. And that's why it's important, because you're going to see things differently than I am, and I'm going to see things differently than you. And if we're willing to talk and engage with each other, we can really come up with some great solutions and some great opportunities.
Right, and that's how you build any good city and any good place to live is, you keep the good and keep that as tradition, and you change the bad into better.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that I have not mentioned that you would like to talk about before we part?
At this time, I can't think of anything, but I really do appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have spoken with you once again about the city and all the great things that are happening in it. Of course, those who want to get involved or at least find out what's going on in the city of Beaver Falls, you can come to the city council meetings at the city building, second and fourth Tuesday of each month there at 7 p.m. And if they want to see it virtually, how can they do that?
It is on our Facebook page. It's pinned, and it's on our website. You can get the link, and you don't need a pass or anything. You can come right in.
Very, very well. Mayor Kenya Johns joining us this morning on AM Beaver County. Mayor, thank you, and have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you.
You too.
Thank you. It's 8:26 on AM Beaver County. We'll go with the forecast in just a couple minutes.
It's always the right time to shop the Hopewell Shopping